everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I don't think I've done this since I reached 1,000 subscribers, and that is to do a shout out video for specific booktubers that I've been watching or discovering lately, and some specific videos that they've done that I wanted to recommend to you, to also to check out the channels in general. So as I said, most of these are people that I've discovered fairly recently. Some of them have less than 1K subscribers, and I think that they deserve a lot more, and I wanted to bring your attention to them. So the first one I wanted to mention is Natty Nook, who's also called Natalie, I think, and she is a big nonfiction reader. That is, I think, how I discovered her channel. Her 5 psychology recommendation book video was one of the first videos that I watched of her, and it was so fascinating. I think she comes from a academic interest in psychology, so a lot of the books that she discussed were more of an academic lean to the psychology, like psychology books that are not self-help. I think that was maybe even the video title. But there was a lot of interesting titles in that video. One of them, for example, talked about the concept of diagnosing and how it is different in different cultures in the world. So she, as I said, she reads a lot of nonfiction. You will definitely find some new recommendations through her videos. The next one I wanted to mention is a big channel. So the main reason I'm mentioning this channel here is because of a project that this person has started, and that is Onyx Pages. So she has just started a slow read along through reading through Octavia E. Butler's work. So this slow read along is basically gonna be taking up 2 years with a list of various books from, with a list of Octavia E. Butler's bibliography. And this read-along thing finally prompted me to read Kindred, which is one of those books that I feel like I've been wanting to read for a long time and just never got around to because SFF is not really my wheelhouse. I feel very unfamiliar in that kind of territory, so it wasn't something that I naturally gravitated towards, but I loved it. I'm really grateful that this project prompted me to pick up Kindred. So I highly recommend checking out this read along and all of the schedule, so you can join in with that as well, and also to check out her other content as well. She's a fantastic person. Obviously I will link all of these people below as well. That's I should have said that in the beginning. The next one I wanted to talk about is Literature Geekblog, who is a Turkish booktuber, I think living in the Netherlands, and a lot of her videos are really sort of aesthetically interesting. She does a lot of fun editing on her reading vlogs and things like that. But she's also a really thoughtful person and reviewer, and I think in particular one of the videos that I wanted to specifically recommend is her review of Madonna in a Fur Coat that made me really interested in this book. But I think in general she has a lot of interesting discussion and book reviews of classics especially, and she has an interest in medieval literature as well, which is something that I really appreciate because I feel like in general I really like booktubers who talk about other areas that I'm less familiar with, so that I find they sort of use these people as resources as well to discover new things. Next is Nicole is Here to Learn. She is someone who I've gotten to know first through Voxer, and we are both part of a book club that Yamini from the Skeptical Reader started in the beginning of this year. She did one book recommendations video talking about books in connection with Black Lives Matter, the demonstrations and everything going on, and she had some really fantastic recommendations, but also I think she did sort of a chat around Black authors and the tendency to only read racism or anti-racism kind of literature. So she gave some recommendations outside of the racism specific area, and I think she has some really interesting and thought-provoking things to say. So I recommend this video both for the recommendations and for the chat in itself. But also I think she's just a fantastic person, and I definitely recommend checking out her videos in general. Next is someone that I discovered this week actually, so it's very recent. recent addition to my subscription feed, and this is Alicia Reads, and she is a Canadian booktuber, I believe. I discovered her through Sean from the Storytime. She did a video very recently with 5 memoir recommendations, and I think in general the memoir recommendations, pretty much all of them sounded interesting to me. Some of them I had read before, but there were at least 2 of them that I hadn't heard of before. He seems to be bringing up some Canadian literature titles to check out as well, which is something that, as I said, I like when booktubers are able to bring sort of something that they are more familiar with than I am. So she sort of highlights some titles that might not be as widely known outside of Canada. So, as I said, she did the 5 memoir recommendations video that was fantastic, and I also really like just the way that she talks about books, and that makes me think that this is a channel that I will be enjoying for a long time to come. Next is a person that I sort of rediscovered. I've been a bit behind on watching booktube videos in the last few weeks, I want to say, the summer, to be honest. I've just sort of not been wanting to spend that much time in front of the computer when I don't have to, so I'm behind with all of the with all of the people that I subscribe to. But this is a channel that I subscribed to a while ago and that I've just recently been sort of catching up with, and that is Cathy Grimm. She does like weekly reading vlogs, or not reading vlogs, reading wrap-ups or check-ins, where she talks about what she read in the week, and she talks a little bit about her life, and I love her videos. I think there's something really chatty and calm about them, and there's also something really thoughtful in the way she talks about both the specific books that she's read in the week, but also sort of connecting that with other things that she's read in the past. And there's something about, I think one of the things that I really appreciate about that is that it feels sometimes like when we're talking about books on Booktube, it's like the books that we've just read are living in a vacuum, that they don't connect with the reading history that we have. And I really like the way that she sort of melts in both her own personal reading history and own thoughts and feelings and her own life with talking about what she's currently reading. Recently she did a video talking about Tove Ditlevsen, who is an author that I've been interested in since the Pink Penguin editions came out, and I've just actually picked up the 3rd book in the trilogy from the library, and that is the only book that has been translated into Swedish for some reason. So I've been immediately inspired to pick up books because of Cathy Grimm. The next person I want to talk about is Untamed Me. That is Natalie from Australia. She's an Australian booktuber, and I absolutely love her her presence in her videos. So she recently returned to Booktube after a little bit of a hiatus, and in her most recent Friday Reads there was a lamb interruption, and it was just the most adorable thing I've ever seen like in a while on YouTube. So just in general, I really like her sense of sort of down-to-earthness, I guess. Like, I really like her the kind of voice that comes through in her videos and everything that she does and talks about, and I think there's sort of a passion coming through in her videos as well, and I'm always feeling more inspired to read, no matter what she's talking about. So she did, when she came back to Booktube, she did sort of a more of a vlog type video where she just showed pieces of her life during the pandemic, and it was beautifully done as well. The next person I want to talk about is Tonimorrow, who is another SFF booktuber, and as I said previously with Onyx Pages, I really have been appreciating following people who talk about different kinds of books that I might not feel as familiar with or as sort of well-traveled in, I guess. I recently did a book review of, what is it called? The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and it was a fantastic book review, really thoughtful, and completely sold me on this book. Even though I've heard people talk about it before and I've seen it around, it hadn't sparked any interest in me before watching this book review. I've also got this out from the library because of her review, so highly recommend the review. But in general, she does a lot of interesting SFF content that I've been really enjoying sort of exploring, and I feel like in general I really want to get into sci-fi, so that is something that I'm sort of trying to find new booktubers to follow to get a sort of sense for the genre and where I can find my own niche within it. The last person I want to mention is someone that I mention a lot on my channel because I've been buddy reading a lot of things with her, and that is Roxy from Recmebooks&stuff. She is probably one of the booktubers who have the most similar taste to me in books, and this is particularly true for nonfiction. Especially what I wanted to recommend is her most recent wrap-ups. She talked about a lot of music related nonfiction and some art related things and things like that, and she always reads such interesting nonfiction, and I think both the way she talks about books, first of all, I think she is very passionate about what she's reading, and I think that really comes through in her videos, and I really like that about watching them. I always feel inspired to read pretty much anything that she talks about, to be honest. I think she finds a lot of interesting titles that I might not have heard of anywhere before, so I'm constantly adding books to my to-read list because of her videos and because of her Instagram as well. Those are the people that I want to talk about in the specific videos that I wanted to recommend by them, that I think you are missing out if you haven't seen these videos or these people before. So let me know if you have any recommendations for booktubers that I should follow. It's not always very easy to find people. It's sometimes we just sort of get into our bubble of the booktube world in general. But these are some of the people, as I said, that I've discovered in the last few months, most of them, and that I've just been really enjoying recently. So that was all I wanted to say today. I hope you're doing well and you're taking care of yourself. I will talk to you soon.